Thank God for the government. If it weren't for them, you'd be dead. You would have died in some alcohol-fueled brawl or a drug-induced haze or been killed by a crazed madman selling unregulated donuts without a food handling license. That might sound silly to you, but the government actually believes that without them and their taxes and regulations, we would be dropping dead all over the place, simply due to our own inability to make good decisions for ourselves. And taxes seem to be the government's solution to absolutely everything. When the government decided that young people were drinking too many pre-mixed spirits, they invented a brand new tax called the Alcopops tax, a 70% tax increase on pre-mixed spirits. Did it work? Well, sure, there was a dramatic reduction in the purchasing of pre-mixed spirits. But at exactly the same time, there was a dramatic increase in the purchasing of unmixed spirits and white wine. Turns out when you make one kind of alcohol more expensive, well, people just buy a different kind of alcohol. Totally didn't see that coming. And this is the problem. People are smart, much smarter than the government gives them credit for, and they will find a way to get what they want. Young people, they don't want Alcopops specifically, they just want to get smashed. So if the price of one kind of alcohol goes up, they'll switch to a different kind of alcohol. If you push up the price of all alcohol through increasing taxes across the board, well, they'll just switch to drugs or go and find illegal untaxed alcohol and find a way to get what they want. A study by the University of Queensland found that the Alcopops tax had no discernible impact on the number of alcohol-related hospital admissions for young people. So, in other words, no discernible health benefits. But it raised $4.5 billion for the government. So at least someone was happy. And that's really the point. Targeted taxes like the Alcopops tax are generally spectacularly unsuccessful at achieving their stated objectives. But the government gets lots of friendly headlines when they launch the initiative to deal with the binge drinking problem. In reality, the problem is unchanged, but the government got a nice, healthy paycheck, along with some very nice headlines. Some people will object and say that the government is just trying to raise money to help cover the social costs that come as a result of alcohol abuse. For example, these idiots who drink until they have to be taken to hospital, well, they're costing us all money. And these targeted taxes supposedly are a good way of making sure that the people who are costing us money are the ones who are paying for it in the first place. Nice idea, but in reality, it fails. Firstly, the social cost of drinking tends to be grossly overstated, and most studies on the subject will include a number of privately incurred costs into the so-called social cost. Things like having to take a sickie the next day because you drank too much the night before. We don't need a new tax to help us cover the privately incurred costs of alcohol. And secondly, the number of people who are getting so drunk that they have to be hospitalized represent a very small percentage of the drinking population. But all drinkers are being forced to pay the extra taxes to cover the costs created by those few. Isn't that just as unfair as making the entire population pay for the costs created by these few? Don't tie me down with all these rules and regulations if I'm not part of the problem. The key here is to make sure that people experience the consequences of their own actions. If someone is an idiot and runs up a medical bill as a result of being an idiot, let them pay that bill. And let those of us who aren't idiots get on with our lives without all the petty rules, regulations, and arbitrary taxes. We are overregulated and overtaxed as it is, and the Alcopops tax is a clear example of how even a well-intentioned social policy can fail spectacularly, and yet still get really positive headlines for the government, not to mention make them a lot of money. If you're sick and tired of your everyday life being regulated by the government, then you need to check out the Australian Taxpayers Alliance and support their campaigns for less taxation and less regulation. My name's Topher, and I'm trying to make the future a better place with less government and more personal freedom. If you like that idea, then please share this video, like, subscribe, and follow me, and I'll talk to you again soon.